We all certified players better choose. Put us in the game, guarantee we never lose. Coming right away, we like to cruise. Try to help you understand, so pay attention to the clues. We are certified players better choose. Put us in the game, guarantee we never lose. Coming right away, we like to cruise. Try to help you understand, so pay attention to the clues.
Just touchdown in the end zone. I'm Mack, as usual, double R.
You know your boy is out here. How y'all doing?
How you doing, Brad?
Doing good, man. You know, excited for a good week of updating our fans. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm marvelous, man. Thanks for asking, man. What we got for him today, man?
All right, man. We're going to start with the AFC West. You know, my boys and your boys, you know, the Los Angeles Chargers. My boy K Mack is a Raiders fan.
Raiders fan.
So we know the AFC West is definitely the hardest and the most competitive division in the NFL as of right now. Everybody was undefeated with the Chargers being defeated until everybody took a spill this week. We had the Raiders losing Sunday Night Football to the Redskins.
Get out of here.
We had another disappointing loss with the Chargers and the Chiefs. And a very big and very, very surprising loss for the Broncos against the Bills. So what are your thoughts? What's your thoughts about that?
Hey, man, Broncos was riding with some early momentum, man. I don't know what happened, though. That defense wasn't cool. And there was a late call at the end of that game that was kind of suspect, man. So I am feeling Von Miller, though. I like his Old Spice commercial. Had me rolling, actually.
Yes. Shout out to Von Miller. Definitely, you see that defense is definitely still stout, but it definitely shows some weaknesses in the middle. I feel that it's definitely been an issue since their Super Bowl and replacing Malik Jackson, who after his free agent year took a fat contract in Jacksonville. And yes, not mad at him, but we do know that running has been definitely the strong points for the Buffalo Bills with LaShawn McCoy and Tyrod Taylor. So that is something that they emphasize as well as showed as a weakness in the Denver's defense. So it's all right, Denver. I am not, sad. So let's keep it going, though. Let's talk about your Raiders, though. Your Raiders against Sunday night took a loss to Kirk Cousins, leaving the Washington Redskins excitingly undefeated. Okay.
Hey, I'm just gonna say that commercial Derek Carr put on before the game.
when he's singing for the bank.
Come on, man, that lost the game right there, man. They couldn't take him seriously. He couldn't take himself seriously after that commercial. But nah, man, we went in there and couldn't do a thing on offense. After I seen that first drive in and the turnover, I knew what was going on that game, man.
Well, yeah, and it's definitely it was kind of different to see the Raiders offense struggle like that, but it was definitely a different look to see that Washington Redskins defensive line being that stout, with Ryan Kerrigan leading the charge, adding the first round draft pick of Jonathan Allen. You have, Preston Smith and Zach Brown flying all over the field. And not to mention, they're looking like there is a great cornerback tandem in Josh Norman and then Rashad Breeland. So,
hey, man, Swearigan, did he have a big hit or?
Oh, we gotta talk about all right. So, if you know us, man, we've been fans of this game for too long. So, before we were talking about Ryan Swearinger. Swearinger was a person, I believe 2 or 3 years ago when he was a member of the Houston Texans, had a very memorable, embarrassing play on our end when he was in the open field and got ran through and by Rashad Jennings. So the interesting fact about this is if the New York Giants run game has never been immaculate, never been productive. So for some reason that day, Rashad Jennings decided to be a fantasy gold mine and a highlight in our lives when he was able to make that hit and move to run by and through what's his name? Swearinger?
Swearinger,
Yeah, Swearinger. To basically, have the longest and most exciting run of his career. But shout out to Swearinger for bringing back another memorable hit when he laid it to Beast Mode.
He got a good shot.
Hey, great shot. And, we understand football happens and everybody gets the best of everybody sometimes. And Beast Mode is someone who gets the best of a lot of people, but just not on that play. So,
Khalil Mack better step it up next week. He got my name and whatnot. he needs to be getting double teamed. Watching him go up against just a tackle was not good enough. He should have been eating that tackle alive on Redskins. So.
But one thing we can talk while we're talking about, just the idea of how the Redskins played Khalil Mack. Just their ability to keep him out of, he's a very disruptive player. Fat contract season coming up, so Raiders are definitely going to have to consider clearing out some bank space. But the fact that the Redskins, who just lost their offensive coordinator this offseason, and him, Sean McVay, becoming the head coach for the Los Angeles Rams, were still able to definitely effectively move the ball as well as run the ball with Thompson, their running back. So that was definitely a very exciting game from Sunday night.
Let's finish it off with your boys.
Moving on to the LA Chargers. Definitely, we had the same struggles beginning our games, just like the Raiders did. If I'm not mistaken, first series ended in an interception. Phillip Rivers actually ended the game with 3 interceptions. But believe it or not, the game was was always in contention as usual into the last few minutes or the last drive of the last Kansas City drive. Your stud that we'll move on later on in the game, Kareem Hunt, was able to ice the game with a 69-yard touchdown run. That was very disappointing and very usual as the Los Angeles Chargers. But we don't give up faith just yet. I know Phillip Rivers is still one of the greatest in the game. The fact that everybody lost last week still keeps the division intact. But we definitely are moving on to next week. I don't know who the Raiders play, but the Chargers have the Eagles. The Chiefs have the Redskins. I'm guessing you guys have somebody else in the NFC East. So who do the Raiders play?
I do not at the moment. I was actually about to talk about the Chiefs though. Without Eric Berry, they still look pretty good.
Defensive wise, definitely. I'm not gonna go out on the limb and say like they're as good still, but a lot of bad throws and decisions made by Phillip Rivers still make them look like a top 5, top 10 defense. So the ability to just have Marcus Peters or all-pro corner on that end.
Don't throw to his side.
He ended up with an interception as well. Just the fact that you still have, a healthy Justin Houston.
Right.
You still have a veteran middle linebacker in Derek Johnson. The emergence of Chris Jones in the middle of the field is very, very, very pivotal for the Kansas City Chiefs if they want to move forward. So, especially with the loss of Dontari Poe. But, you definitely want, to have your best player out there on the field at all times. So we always tip our hats off to Eric Berry.
Boy, Alex Smith though. Diego native,
He's definitely playing for a new contract. We all know that this past offseason, the Kansas City Chiefs with the 15th pick chose a quarterback, and Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes. Yes, that is him. Patrick Mahomes out of Texas Tech, who just a little personal thing that I felt like Texas Tech quarterbacks haven't really correlated successfully to the NFL from that gap from college to NFL. However, I'm not going to be that judgmental. I just know that he was definitely selected high in believes to be the face of the future, which we believe that Alex Smith is now playing with fire underneath him, sport complex, as well as a rejuvenated facility that allows San Diego State to potentially have another location to play in. Because as we know, you being a Raider fan, me being a Charger fan, Qualcomm and the Coliseum are the oldest two stadiums in the NFL right now. So it's long overdue for, renovations, and I personally hate how it happened with the city and the Chargers, but we can only hope that eventually something else could give, and but
to be honest, when I drive by on Sunday, it's a swap meet, bro. It's a swap meet. Hey, look, we're gonna make a challenge to the NFL. We're gonna throw this red flag out. Challenge to play.
Okay.
NFL, look, hey, you guys match us 50%. I guarantee you we can start a franchise back in San Diego, man.
Easy.
All practice squad players. We'll call them the San Diego Sabres, like to show the game. Hey, I guarantee you that beat the Browns. I guarantee you, bro. Guarantee you, man.
I do not disagree. I have no opposition on that. No opposing arguments. But, I definitely just being a native and being loyal to the soil, I have a part of me that feels that, it's something missing this football season. And I feel like you'll endure that in 2 years when your team goes to Vegas. Moving on. All right. The Raiders' strengths and weaknesses.
Let's get to these rookies.
All right. So, rookie watch. Did you get to watch these games this weekend? It was some exciting, man. Start, man. You gotta
talk on these guys. So look, Deshaun Watson, I'm gonna give it to my man. From national championship last year to freaking the national championship game of his life versus Brady, man, and he went out in a close one.
Yes, he did. Almost becoming the first rookie to ever, almost becoming the first rookie to ever beat Belichick. All right, first rookie in his,
something seconds left in the game, a clutch touchdown. You know what I mean? To put Brady back up. Man. I don't feel as bad for him as I do for Matt Ryan last year. That was a worse loss. I'm just saying. So kudos to my guy Deshaun.
Kudos to Deshaun Jackson, and he'll just show you that you need more than field goals to beat Tom Brady. Moving on. You gotta talk to my boy. When you talk about my boy, man, talk about him. I know you got. Go ahead.
State, man. My man's a Florida State man, so I'm gonna give my shout to Delvin Cook, man. Delvin Cook's been showing out this year. I think he's averaging almost 5 yards a carry, man, to be honest. And he got yet another touchdown, you know what I'm saying, in a big win.
Definitely.
He's in a good spot. He's in a good spot in that Minnesota offense, especially since they're lacking their quarterback, bro.
Right.
Yeah. We'll say a career game for their quarterback this week. We'll see his real game next week, though, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Shout out to Case Keenum.
Keep your eye on that guy. Next one up, we're going to do Christian McCaffrey.
Okay. Stanford. Smart guy.
He is a smart guy. He ended up with 9 catches this week. Hey, I see him being a pretty good, effective player in their passing game. 9 catches for 101 yards.
Oh, yeah, that's big. Especially with the missed
game. He doesn't have to do it with 20 tackles. Yet he can. I'm just saying. Kudos to that guy. Last running back that I've seen with these kind of numbers as receivers was Reggie Bush way back, you know what I mean?
Yes, definitely. And that's definitely big because of the fact that they're missing Greg Olsen now, so you have to fill that void in the passing game. So great kudos to Christian McCaffrey.
All right, my next one is Kareem Hunt. Ooh, Kansas City, man. So he's been doing this thing actually. He's 2 touchdowns each week this season so far.
Yes.
I don't know what he's doing, but he's a staple in their game, in their offense.
Yes.
He's got a rookie spot, so.
And big shout out to him, definitely, in the whole Kansas City organization and finding him to fill the shoes of not only Jamal Charles but Spencer Ware, who tore his meniscus earlier this year in preseason. So that's a third round pick who's giving you great productivity. So definitely
and let him play, man.
Yeah, plug and play. So my rookies to watch this year. We're gonna have to start okay, with my boy in Philadelphia, Jake Elliott, okay? Did you not see, okay, this is a rookie kicker out of the University of Memphis who hit a game winner, okay, from 61 yards, okay, to win the game in a divisional matchup. Not only just a game, that could decide anything. No, this is actually a game between your divisional rivals, okay? The Eagles versus the Giants, in which the Giants thought that this kicker leg was weak enough that they could put Odell Beckham back there to receive the kick. False! Odell Beckham watched that ball go right over his head through the uprights. It is good. Shout out to you, Jake Elliott. We see you, baby. We see you, okay? We see you. Big stud. All right. So, also, rookies to watch on the defensive end, they're not really standing out, but they're definitely being productive. Somebody you could watch is Derek Barnett, who's a part of that Philadelphia's front line with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, who had they had a great game just all over Eli Manning this weekend. If you didn't know, Eli Manning and that offensive line has continued to struggle with the Philadelphia Eagles. That was the same thing. So shout out to them, as well as my boy Jonathan Allen and Ryan Kerrigan and the whole defensive tackle the front four of the Washington Redskins. I know you as a Raider fan did not like how they were doing Derek Carr, but I do love it. Okay, Derek Carr. All right, you still my guy. Fresno State, stand up. All right, but. Okay, when it comes to this, shout out to Jonathan Allen, Ryan Kerrigan, and the whole defensive line for the Washington Redskins. So, all right. So, what we talking about now? Injury reports, right? So,
reports. So, I'm gonna call out some superstars right now.
Yeah. Why don't we?
So, first, I'm gonna start with my man Andrew Luck. I know he's been out since last season.
Yes.
And you see, Cam's already back with a similar injury, similar surgery. Is my man Andrew Luck just collecting a check? He's supposed to practice this week. What's up with my man Andrew, man?
Well, I know we were talking about over the off season, just in what you mentioned, how him and Cam Newton had the same injury with the same surgery, but different rehabilitation circumstances. You see Cam Newton is already on the field. Andrew Luck, if I'm not mistaken, has still yet to throw a football. So this is coming from one of the highest paid quarterbacks who inked the big fat contract last year, but has still yet to win a playoff game or yet to play a whole football season. So it's kind of hard to really just go to the point that he's collecting a check. But I do like to mention the fact that the quarterback position is a position that is being overpaid, in the sense that the production and the money correlation is not the same. Okay,
Gotcha.
We have quarterbacks who've been paid numerous of money.
He's the new Jamarcus Russell, huh?
I wouldn't go there, but I wouldn't go there because Jamarcus Russell, his connection to the NFL is almost belittling, like, in the sense he only won less than 25% of his games, if I'm not mistaken.
He knew how to collect the check. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Learn from him, Andrew Luck. You went to Stanford. You a smart guy.
Well, we've also seen Andrew Luck lead there. You've lost your tight end in Dwayne Allen, who went to New England. You still have, T.Y. Hilton, and you still have, Moncrief, but with your quarterback not in there, you're going to always... It's kind of hard for Jacoby Brissett or any other quarterback to step in, to fill those shoes. So
my question about Andrew Luck, I mean, he's good. Fourth year, is it a major injury, or is he going to come back like that movie Major League? Is he going to come back slinging that thing, man? What's really going to happen?
Well, when you think about it, I always feel, just being in the AFC South, I'm not saying it's a weak division, but it's definitely, an open division with the Jaguars and the Texans and the Titans. But if you think about all the quarterback play, you have Deshaun Watson, who's showing he's a competitor. Not bad, especially considering that top 5, top 10 defense he's playing with. Marcus Mariota, who's showing he's a Pro Bowl receiver. Pro Bowl quarterback. Excuse me, but he definitely he has the best insight to me, or the best lane to win that division.
Yeah.
Last year they definitely should have until week 14. He broke his leg. But that it is just showing that within the AFC South, it's always open with circumstances, as well as as long as you can win those head-to-head battles
Which quarterback you didn't mention out of that division?
Blake Bortles, and that was for a reason.
Blake Bortles.
And that was for a reason, okay? So that was for a reason. That was for a reason.
He just had a career day yesterday or on Sunday. What are you talking about?
Okay. So shout out to the Jaguars defense, who's been able to keep the Jaguars above 500. So we're not even going to mention the fact that Joe Flacco only had 28 yards passing on 7 attempts, with 3 turnovers. 28. Yes, you said that correctly.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So great acquisitions with Calais Campbell, AJ Boye, the rookie. Not a rookie. Last year's first round pick, Jalen Ramsey, healthy Myles Jarrett. You saw the team is stacked, but they always just find a hard time to put stuff together on the offensive end. Okay,
right.
Not the
before we do the Jaguars. How about this one? Last injury. My man Darren Sproles, man.
Oh,
time for my man to hang him up, man.
Don't say that. All right. Personally, I'm going to say no, just because of what you mentioned. Darren Sproles, was a former Charger. We drafted him when he first came into the league, and he's been outstanding ever since. So for him to be in his 34 years old and he's still producing, it's just sad that to have a season-ending injury, as well as a potential career-ending injury, at this late in your career. So part of me just has the inside childhood fan of Darren Sproles, who watched him at Kansas State, that makes you feel that he could still do it because he's been doing it for this long. But you have to consider the circumstances of at 34 years old, tearing a ligament in your knee, as well as breaking your arm. Might be a sign for you to think about hanging him up. So we still wish a healthy and full recovery for you, Darren Sproles. But I understand the circumstances.
Take your time. Take your time.
All right.
So we're gonna jump into our next section, our scrubs and studs of the week. Now you already started a little bit with the Ravens offense. The Ravens offense. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god.
All right, so we're definitely talking about the scrub part then, right? We're talking. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So if anybody was unsure of the Ravens and Jaguars game, okay, if anybody was not able to see that, okay, on Sunday at 6:30, they did take place overseas in London, okay, Wembley Stadium. The Jaguars put up 44 points, okay. This was the 1-1 Jaguars versus the 2-0 Ravens, okay? And this was the team that was able to put up 44 points, okay? Your boy Blake Bortles had 244 passing yards, bro.
Yeah, right.
244 passing yards on 4 touchdowns, bro.
4 touchdowns, bro?
4 touchdowns. 3 coming to 1 player, Mercedes Lewis, okay? Yes, that's the same Mercedes Lewis that played at UCLA with Maurice Jones-Drew. That is the same Mercedes Lewis that's been in this league for over a decade. had 3 touchdowns all last year, right? That our understanding? Three touchdowns all last year. 3 in one game against the Ravens. Terrible, bro. Terrible.
Awful effort from the Ravens. We appreciate you guys for being on this part of our highlights.
Hey.
Let's move right into the studs of the week, man. Here, I'm going to jump into mine. DeMarcus Lawrence for the Cowboys.
Oh, yes. Great game.
The commentators were talking about him all evening, all game long, man. And right away, he was on cue. He was making a play, man. He had a ton of disruption in the backfield. And he's feeling in a good spot, man. Whose spot was he supposed to take over?
Woo, DeMarcus Ware. So you had a DeMarcus, showing a lot of resemblance of another DeMarcus in which they felt that he was supposed to come in and take over. So, shout out to you, DeMarcus Lawrence. You definitely showed that you're almost going to be worth that paycheck this past season, since off season. So definitely good. Yes, great game to you, and he definitely showed that Carson Palmer was definitely looking for him. So definitely. And I talked about my guy earlier in the segment just because he's a rookie. Hey. But I gotta still talk about my guy, Jake Elliott, okay? I don't think you guys understand the significance of what this man did, okay? A 61-yard walk-off field goal, okay?
That's their longest in history. Their longest field goal in Eagles history.
Your guy was playing at the University of Memphis last year, okay? Got carried off the field in very courageous and loving fashion. Not to mention he beat a divisional rival. Shout out to you, Jake Elliott. I have nothing but the utmost respect. Not to mention you probably made somebody's fantasy day. Okay?
That's right.
With a 61-yarder. Yeah, shout out to you, my guy. Shout out to you.
So we're going to do our scores and our preview for next week, right?
Right.
Scores from last week and our stat. So, actually, I wanted to jump right into it. I do know who the Raiders are playing.
Okay, so who do the Raiders have on their upcoming schedule?
Raiders got a matchup with the Broncos.
Oh, divisional matchup. Yes.
Yeah. So be excited for that one. All right, so we had the Rams and the 49ers. That was our Thursday night game.
Actually, it was a lot more exciting than a lot of people anticipated. High scoring game from 41 to 39 points with the Rams topping the San Francisco 49ers.
That's right.
Definitely came all the way down. Shout out to Sean McVay, who's definitely showing that he is a essential part to the maturation of Jared Goff. Okay, not sure if you know that Jared Goff only incompleted 6 passes. Okay, had 3 touchdowns. 2 to Sammy Watkins in that great acquisition. Not to mention 1 to your boy Ty Gurley, as well as Ty Gurley, all right, is getting over that sophomore slump and had 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards. So shout out to the Rams in their win against the San Francisco 49ers, right?
Yes, correct. Of course, we already spoke about the Ravens' debauchery in London against the Jaguars.
Yes.
44-7. They did put up those 7 points against the second-team defense of the Jaguars.
Yeah, so if you want to call someone a stud, it would be Ryan Mallett. Okay, so we wouldn't go there, but shout out to the Jaguars. I hope it's not a fluke. Okay, you guys are showing that you're definitely a contender in that AFC South. Like I said, that's a division that's always considered wide open to me. So,
hey man, how does he still have a job?
Man, you know what? I have a lot of questions considering the fact that this man was retired and brought out of retirement to.
Did they call him? He was sitting on the couch like us, huh?
Yes, he was probably creating a YouTube or a YouTube channel just like this too. Yeah, like
Jay Cutler, whoever's number you got in the league, man, slide that thing, man. Let me put my resume in.
Bro, I don't know whoever wrote his letter of recommendations need to write me one. This is a quarterback who, against almost considerably the worst team in the NFL, the Jets were considered to go 0-16 this year. Okay, but it's not happening because Jay Cutler didn't allow it. He gave up. He was only able to get 6 points against the New York Jets, okay? He was 26 to 44 and 220 yards with only one touchdown. Okay, not saying that's bad, but just considering the circumstances, he didn't play really an elite game against the Chargers the week before. We do know that Hurricane Irma did allow him to miss week 1, him and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But it's still unacceptable for you to just come out there and just play below mediocrity.
Well, the Jets take this one 20-6 over the Dolphins. We'll jump right into the next one. The Patriots edging out a close one over the Texans, man. We talked a little bit about Deshaun Watson earlier. I want to jump on the Patriots, though. Tom Brady, hey, man, Hall of Fame, GOAT, whatever you want to call him, doing Tom Brady.
Tom Terrific. That man is 40 years old and still putting up outstanding numbers. Threw for almost 380 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Amen.
This is coming from a 5-time Super Bowl champion already. Okay.
And he gonna hit you right between the numbers too. Every time.
Man. Shout out to the new acquisition of Delvin Cook. Okay, showing that he was a perfect fit for the New England offense. All right, with over 130 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns and 1 being the game winner. So. We can't take it away from Deshaun Watson, okay, who was able to throw for over 302 touchdowns. But when you leave enough time for Tom Brady, that Tom Brady could be Tom Brady. All right, so that's just New England edging out Houston with a 36-33 win, 3-point victory. All right.
Next one up is the Falcons and the Lions. Lions at home losing a close one. It did come down to a call at the end of the game.
Yes, with the 10-second runoff.
Hey, it is actually in the rule book. They did not have a timeout. I understand that they didn't ask for the play to be challenged, but they did think it was a touchdown, so it should be challenged. So
right, on any scoring play, it's there's an automatic challenge. Yeah, automatic challenger is definitely available to be challenged regardless if the play is questionable.
Right.
So so sad to see Golden Tate fall that short, him and Matthew Stafford, but you see that the Atlanta Falcons are they're not missing a stride as opposed to their whole idea of getting back to the Super Bowl. We all know they blew that 25-point lead in the third quarter to the New England Patriots. So they're looking like their offense is definitely still strong with their defense, showing the ability to get turnovers. And you just see that Matthew Stafford just came up 10 seconds short. How about that? He came up 10 seconds short, but shout out to the Atlanta Falcons and going into Detroit and definitely getting that victory with a 30-26 victory.
There you go. Next one, the Giants at the Eagles. The Eagles win this one at home. We talked a little bit about the kicker.
Jake Elliott. All right. I don't know if you guys could. I'm going to always be a big fan of Jake Elliott from now on. All right. Or anybody who could go ahead as a rookie and go into the NFL and just accomplish that. It's just amazing. Like you said, he had a 61-yarder. That is already the franchise record. Longest field goal in Philadelphia history. But not to mention, he beat a divisional rival that I keep mentioning. All right. In a walk-off fashion. All right. If we look at a lot of times in history, they had Odell Beckham sitting right there to return the kicks. We've seen what happened in the Iron Bowl with Alabama Auburn. That was 1 second left with a returner that changed the whole virtue of that game. He didn't even give him a chance. He nailed it. Okay, nailed it. All right. But
the Eagles take this one all around. Great performance from them. 3-point victory, 27-24 over the Giants.
Can we mention the catches that Odell Beckham keeps making? Like, oh my God!
Don't expect anything different though.
It means nothing in the loss, so we're not gonna go there, right?
ODB, shout you out, man. Go ahead and get your Head and Shoulders sponsorship now. Cool. Next one. Seahawks at the Titans. The Titans take it, man.
Yes, which is definitely, something that you like that I'm coming to understand, and Marcus Mariota is the truth, okay? Marcus Mariota is definitely coming here to play, and he's not trying to show anybody anything different, okay?
No lie. No lie.
No lies, okay? So, shout out to him who with that two-headed monster in the backfield with DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry were able to get through the Legion of Boom. Like,
with victory, man.
With a victory, okay? The Legion of Boom, they're definitely coming or getting on the back end of the Boom,
Yeah. It's just Boo now. Just Boo.
you have these issues that came out prior to the season starting, with Richard Sherman probably being on the trading block, Cam Chancellor being on the back end of his contract deal. You have a returning healthy Earl Thomas, so you just have a lot of things factoring in. They were able to give Cam Chancellor that extension, the 3-year extension, so they got that clear. But you just see the Legion of Boom just definitely being a little bit less stout than they used to be, giving up over 150 yards rushing, over 100 just to DeMarco Murray on 14 carries. He averaged over 8 yards a carry against the Legion of Boom.
That Seattle offense is kind of sketch as well. Man.
Well, you definitely
in the run game without Marshawn there. Receivers aren't as big. It's trouble all around.
No, definitely understanding when you have your quarterback being your second leading rusher behind your leading rusher by only 8 yards. You had Carson, who had 34 yards rushing, and Russell Wilson having 26. So that's definitely a struggle. We know that even with the addition of Eddie Lacy, who's not panning out accordingly, that the run game is definitely missing with the Seattle Seahawks. So it's a reason that possibly they took this loss to the Tennessee Titans, but that is the Titans winning 33-27. So.
All right. Next one we got the Chiefs and the Chargers. We talked a lot about that game earlier. Chiefs taking this one. They really solidified the game in the fourth quarter, going up 24-10.
Yeah, although the game started off with 2 interceptions on back-to-back possessions with the Chargers, in which the Chiefs were able to turn them into quick touchdowns with a Tyreek Hill touchdown. So you definitely see that the Chargers were able to climb back in it with a 10-17 lead, or losing 10-17 all the way into the fourth quarter, and to Kareem Hunt iced it with the 69-yard touchdown, making it a 2-possession game and making the Chiefs win 24-10 over the LA Chargers. Another disappointing loss, but you have the Chargers going to Philadelphia, so hopefully it could be a bounce back from the previous 3 games. So.
Boom. All right. So we got next up the Bengals and the Packers. That one went to overtime. Hey man, Andy Dalton's his job might be on the line, man.
No, there's not even a maybe, and it's not only his. Okay. Shout out to the offensive coordinator, the new offensive coordinators that the Bengals were able to promote and allow him to basically do a little bit more with Andy Dalton to give and allow him to score a touchdown this week, putting up 24 points against the Green Bay Packers. However, it's just not enough for Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers. So, it was definitely a good game that went into overtime. But if you guys haven't watched Aaron Rodgers play, you never give him a free play. And that's exactly what the Bengals did in overtime, which led to a big play to Geronimo Allison that led to a easy Mason Crosby field goal that led the Green Bay Packers to win 27-24. against the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, next one up, we got the Raiders and Redskins. Raiders obviously didn't come out the locker room for this game at all, it looked like. Redskins go big. Their DBs locking everything down. Josh Norman, Swearinger, we mentioned him earlier.
Yes, definitely. You know this is not a winning formula for the Raiders when you have Derek Carr to barely pass over 115 yards, as well as your leading receiver to be your tight end and Jared Cook. That's something that the Raiders in winning formula have never did. You usually have, Amari Cooper or Michael Crabtree thriving in the passing game, which the pass rush from the Washington Redskins and the secondary did not allow. So it was definitely a big game. On the other hand, though, for Kirk Cousins, who was able to throw for 365 yards and 3 touchdowns, only incompleting 5 passes. So you're even wondering, was the Raiders secondary out there? So, not to mention, you gave up over 150 yards receiving to the running back. So that's not a winning formula. But nonetheless, you have a big matchup in the division with the AFC West, the Raiders against the Broncos. So, you can only hope that they bounce back, right?
They will. They definitely will. So, Redskins take this one 27-10 over the Raiders. The Raiders travel to Washington, D.C. They obviously did not visit President Trump and lost this game. So, next game up is Cowboys and the Cardinals. The Cowboys
Monday Nighter.
in Arizona.
Yes. This was definitely an awareness game on my behalf. Not sure with the Cardinals fans, but they're almost at that point where they need to turn over the leaf with Carson Palmer. They allowed him to be sacked 6 times, as well as there is no healthy run game. You lost your leading running back David Johnson with a fractured wrist. So
he don't want to play.
So now you're leading on Chris Johnson and Andre Ellington, who also have had their own injury issues, but those are big shoes to fill. But shout out to Larry the Legend, Larry Fitzgerald, who's looking like he's just constantly just consistent with 13 catches and 150 yards receiving and a touchdown. Like, you just think like this man never ages.
He mossed Orlando Scandrick last night.
Yes. That just adds to the legend of Larry. But it's sad because you knew that coming in, Carson Palmer started hot. Believe he didn't even incomplete a pass on his first drive, and it just in the second half you got Ezekiel Elliott rolling. You got Dak Prescott who was able to run and throw the ball, and it just ultimately wasn't enough for the Arizona Cardinals defense. But like I said initially, you have Carson Palmer, who was almost on the back end of his career. You don't want to call it over, but you definitely want to say it's over in Arizona. So that is the Dallas Cowboys, though, beating Arizona 28-17.
All right, so real quick, I'm going to run through the matchups for next week. We got a division with the Bears and Packers on Thursday.
Yes.
Saints and Dolphins are going to be playing in London. Panthers versus the Patriots. Jaguars and Jets. Titans and Texans. Steelers and Ravens. Bengals and Browns.
There's a lot of divisional matchups.
A lot of division games. Lions versus the Vikings. Here's the Rams and the Cowboys. We got the Bills and the Falcons. Eagles and Chargers, as you mentioned. The Niners and Cardinals division. Giants and Buccaneers. Raiders, Broncos. Colts, Seahawks. And to top it off on Monday night with the Redskins and the Chiefs. Should be interesting next week.
Yes, you have a Monday night football game of the undefeated. So that is definitely exciting, and I'm going for the Redskins. So,
since you're talking about undefeateds, how about this one? You know Owen?
No, who's Owen?
0-4? A couple teams on the brink right now being 0-4.
Don't remind me, my boys is one of them.
Okay, now so I'll start with the Browns. All right, the Browns have a possible 0-4 coming up. Actually, I do think it's going to happen. Of course, the Chargers are on there. Not only are the Browns on there, but they're with the Bengals as well, the same division. So, and then last but not least, the Giants. So, Giants and 49ers. Sorry. So, my guess. Who do you think is going to be 0-4 next week?
For sure, the Browns. You have the Browns playing the Bengals. Not saying that it is anything against the Browns. I just feel like the Bengals showing that they could shoot out against Green Bay actually, brought a little more momentum.
Does it help at all that the Browns are at home?
Nah, those are divisional games, and they're both in Ohio, Cincinnati and Cleveland. You're gonna you're gonna get Bengal games there. Are the Bengals undefeated? No, they're defeated, right?
The Bengals have not won a game. That's correct.
Okay, so you have the battle of the beatens.
Yes. That's going to be our highlight for next week, guys. We'll go into great detail about that one. No, I'm joking. Last thing I got for you, do we have a possible Kaepernick hiring around the league?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because if a lot of people are unfamiliar with the circumstances, Colin Kaepernick definitely took a knee to protest his beliefs towards the national anthem, which has led to
the entire league.
Yes, the entire league now protesting or not protesting the national anthem, but in response to Colin Kaepernick's protest, President Trump came out and his responses was that if anybody wanted to protest or take a knee, that they should be fired. So around the whole league, you have owners, general managers, players, icons, everybody taking part of this protest. And ultimately, you see that it's definitely opening the eye and the awareness of the bigotry in America. But Colin Kaepernick is definitely still waiting for a phone call in this sense that we're still hoping that he's going to get it. But I personally feel that by the time his phone rings, it will be far too late of a season to salvage. So
I got 3 teams that can use him right now. How about that?
Okay.
So I'm going to start off with the Minnesota Vikings. Case Keenum had the game of his life, sure. But in the event that Bridgewater's still not back and Bradford's out yet again, are they really going to take it there with Case Keenum?
I only say yes because Case Keenum has showed that he has a lot more qualities in the passing game that Minnesota feels is suitable. Does that make sense? So I think about when Teddy Bridgewater was a quarterback and they went to the playoffs, they honestly lost the first round because Blair Walsh missed the game-winning field goal, right?
Right.
You remember that game?
Yeah.
Okay. But the biggest knock on Teddy Bridgewater was that he did not make the throws downfield, okay?
Right.
Like, I believe his average throw was less than 10 yards. Like,
makes sense.
So Case Keenum does bring that element in which he does open up the passing game. Okay, you have a young running back who's able to run the ball in Delvin Cook. You have weapons on the outside, especially with emerging Stephon Diggs.
What I'm saying, though, Sam Bradford is known for having the highest completion percentage of passes 10 yards and under. So
yes, I just feel like when you get Colin Kaepernick as opposed to Bradford, Bridgewater, or Keenum, Keenum has the more air qualities of an offense. He's going to push the ball downfield. He likes to throw the ball downfield. He actually is more relieved to throw the ball downfield. So with those other quarterbacks, you have Teddy Bridgewater who feels like he could, dink and dunk downfield unless a receiver is wide open. And Colin Kaepernick was a very good dual threat running back quarterback who showed that he can make plays with his arm and his legs when necessary. So you definitely get a difference between all 3 quarterbacks. And Sam Bradford, I'm just so sorry to say that he should have been on the segment of hanging it up.
With Darren Sproles.
Yeah, with Darren Sproles. This is the first round draft pick from Oklahoma who won the Heisman and has yet to play a full season ever. Actually, I take that back. He played the whole season last year. However, this is a man who had a non-contact injury, to his knee, and now is questionable in missing games. So, not to mention he's still getting paid for the Rams for that first round draft pick. But we ain't gonna talk about that.
Next one I got is the Bengals, man. Cincinnati loves to take in players with personality. Think about Ocho Cinco, Vontaze Burfict. I do think Kaepernick would be perfect there.
I honestly think so too, considering the circumstances that for the past 4 years, or the past, they have Dalton, who showed that he could. And it's sad because I believe in Dalton. I loved him, always been a fan of him at TCU. But it shows that when it's time to be thorough or straightforward or just do what you have to do, he does it. Okay? And it's sad, and it's always, I always think about the year when he was almost having a MVP type season. They had already clinched the playoffs, and he decided to make a tackle that fractured his thumb and into his season, which thrusted forward AJ McCarron. And
doo-doo is what doo-doo does, man.
Hey, man, but I honestly feel like Kaepernick is a great personality in the Bengals, especially with Marvin Lewis and what he can bring forth. His personality is not controversial or bad.
No.
Just, personally...
He got media attention.
Yeah, definitely. Well, this is the same person who was also voted the best teammate in San Francisco last year. So, moving forward.
All right, well, our last one we got here is, we'll go down to Jacksonville. Lil Duval's favorite quarterback. No, my man Boo Boo Blake Bortles. Jaguars, look, he had the game of his career this week. How long can we expect some good performance out of Blake Bortles, man?
Well, when you have
is the project over?
That project has been over, bro. Just personally, when you have the average starting field position in your territory, you should have a career game. Like I said, shout out to the Jacksonville defense. But this is a person who's had weapons and continued to gain weapons and still continued to miss. Okay, this is also the team that lost their number one receiver as well, with Allen Robinson tearing his knee for the season.
I'd be out too, looking at the way Blake Bortles throws.
Yeah, but
my personal doctor, but he told me it's over, man. I'm out this year, man.
Man. We've listened to audio. We've read stories where Allen Robinson has, definitely publicized his frustration with Blake Bortles as the number one receiver, and as well as him being the starting quarterback. So in the preseason, the idea was that Chad Henne might take over the reins. But with that defense playing stellar like that, I feel like anybody could play there right now, probably even me and you. So Colin Kaepernick would be an exceptional addition with that offense, especially considering the thoroughbred they have in the backfield and Leonard Fournette. Kind of reminds me of a young Frank Gore and how he ran with a lot more strength and speed. So definitely, and that was the backfield for the Super Bowl 49ers when they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Ravens. So,
well, those are possibilities places where Cap can go. So, we about to wrap this show up, man. Any last things you got for him?
Yeah, man. Just appreciate you guys tuning in to R-Dub and Mack, man. We doing our thing. Definitely just stay updated with videos and insights that we got coming up for you guys, and we got a lot of information to come kick it to you. Hey, man.
Hey, we are out. Until next week, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, hit that notify button one time. Until then, be cool like how you be cool, big dog.
Hey, water.
Water. Pause that thing, man.
Yeah.